right, everybody, we are back. It's the Sports Clash. We've been gone for a little bit longer than we usually are, but we're here and it's time now. The NFL season is just 2 weeks away, and we are here to do a full 2024 NFL season preview. We're going to go division by division, predict our winners, make some other bold predictions if we're feeling frisky, and
Mm-hmm.
then end the episode as we usually do with a little good, bad, shitty to talk about some other sports. But the focus here, NFL, it's here. Um, College, we had some college games this past weekend. Um, made some. We're gonna be making picks on so bet. Didn't get off to a good start, week zero, but we'll
Irish
try
eyes
again.
weren't smiling. Hell no.
No, but
The Aer
I
Lingus
mean,
Classic didn't go so well, but that's okay.
yeah, that's okay. It's tough. I mean, to predict the Irish weather there, a lot of factors at play. So, but it's just nice to have football on the TV, and the NFL is here. So we're gonna go division by division, break it down, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Chris, how you doing, bud?
Good, man. Yeah, long time no talk. We always say it's been a while, and
Been a
yeah, it really
while.
has this time. We've transitioned from basically trade deadline into the NFL preview today, so
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I don't think anybody listening will be complaining. But super excited to hear all about the Jets tonight, and maybe a couple of other teams. So
Yeah, we'll definitely talk some other teams.
I'm just
For
kidding.
sure.
How you been, man? How's everything?
Good. Had a nice weekend. Hit up the drive-in this weekend. That was fun. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine at the drive-in down the road. A lot of fun.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Would
So
you
the
flash back to the 50s?
yeah, it was a blast. It's a good time. But had a nice weekend. The older guy, Dante, spent the weekend with Nana Papa. So we
Ooh.
just we just had the little one, and we were able to like actually like get some things done around the house, which was cool. Because when he's here that doesn't happen. But
No, they pull it, my kids are mobile too, and they pull
yeah,
everything out as quickly as I clean it right back up. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
totally got you.
Yeah, so I got just had the little peanut here. Although she's a problem. She's gonna be moving and grooving real quick, real
Pretty
quick.
soon.
So yeah,
Starting to do
we're in trouble here.
the
But
fall starts.
yeah, but it's good
Cool.
stuff. And
Well, good to
just
hear.
just counting down to football now. And I mean, enjoying baseball. Our teams are in a tight division race. The Orioles are on Sunday Night Baseball, our favorite program as we speak. Um, Down right now, but it's fourth inning, so who knows? But
Hey,
Tony
just
Tater's your
want to
best
jump in
hitters
here.
up.
Do you remember when you told me to get a better setup so I could watch the game while I was recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a TV and now I'm pretty frustrated
Why? Because they're
because I'm
down three
watching the
nothing.
game while recording. Yeah.
That's great. That's what we need. That's what we need. Yeah, I got the game on the iPad here now, so
Nice.
we
Nice.
placed a couple bets. I placed bets on Adley and Gunner homers because I'm in a head-to-head matchup right now, and basically I'm gonna win in one of my fantasy leagues. I'm gonna win as long as Adley and Gunner don't hit like two homers and go crazy, score a bunch of runs, and hit the gap in the average. I think I'm good. They're both over two so far, so
That
works for
means
me
they're
so
due.
far. Yeah, I had to
Classic
do the
baseball,
little.
they're due.
Yeah, but they're not gonna homer now because I put the hex on them. I did the emotional hedge. So
The
sorry,
hex.
but but we have that on the background. But let's jump in, man. It's NFL season is right around the corner. We got fantasy drafts this
Yep.
week and next, which we're excited about.
Yep.
Uh, but opening opening night is Thursday. What is it? The what is the kickoff game now? Thursday, September 5th, Kansas City,
Yes. Kansas City and whom?
the Ravens.
Oh, the Ravens.
So
Excellent.
that's yeah,
Nevermore.
September 5th, Chiefs Ravens, Thursday night. That's gonna be fun. I mean, that's a premier matchup to start the season. So looking forward to that. Let's
Yep.
start it off with my division, top of the standings here. Let's look at the AFC East.
Let me just pull it up. I forgot about these teams. Oh, that's okay. It's them. Oh, it's those four. Okay, I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah. It's these guys here. My Jets.
Yeah,
Repping Leon Washington. My only Jets jersey I have left. I have not got a jersey in
Leon.
years. Yeah. I went
I wonder
through
what that man's feeling about the kickoffs now.
yeah, Leon would have crushed it in these kickoffs probably. So
Get me back in.
yeah, he got injured a week after I bought this jersey and was never the same. So I stopped buying
Dude, it's the
jerseys
hex.
because of
Like
that.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's not them.
I had a bad run of jerseys with the Jets. Stopped. Just I'm just like, you know what? I'll rep Leon and I'm happy. So
Did you like write a letter and that's why they got this jersey insurance now?
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
Fanatics knows. But AFC East, the Jets are favored plus 160. But the Dolphins are right there plus 180, and the Bills are also right there plus 220. It's a three-horse race. The
Yeah.
Patriots are plus 2,500. Patriots, I mean, it's nice. After dominating that division for basically most of my life, they are finally bad, and I'm enjoying it for as long as I possibly can. Their hopes are pinned on Drake May, who I hope is terrible for a long time, but he
Pretty
seems
good.
like the kind of guy there. But I mean, Belichick is gone. The Wicked Witch of the West is finally gone, and it's so nice. And I'm just hoping that it's just years and years of misery now for the Patriots and their fans. I'm
Yeah,
really
well,
looking.
he's not there to ruin Drake May, so we'll see. Just
Mm,
like he did with Mac. But you got pretty lucky with Tom Brady, I'd say, because he also ruined Drew Bledsoe. So
yeah, I don't think he ruined Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones was just Mac
he was a
Jones.
garbage pick. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the
yeah,
dude never threw it more than 10 yards in college. He ran the Alabama offense. That's about it. That's about it.
terrible. But let's talk about the teams that matter.
Do it.
So we have the Jets, like I said, are the favorite, slight, behind the Dolphins and the Bills. The Jets had a great offseason. They usually do that. They always win the offseason and disaster strikes at some point. Last year it was about 2 minutes into the game, four offensive snaps for Aaron Rodgers, and our season ended. And I went through all of the stages of grief almost immediately
Mhm.
as I sat there in my chair on Monday night. And
Acceptance took a while.
yeah, it did because they won that game. And I was like, yeah, maybe it won't be that bad.
Yeah.
Zach could maybe do this. He learned from Rodgers for a couple months, and Zach could really do this. Boy, that was dumb. Zach Wilson is now the third string quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
Pretty
So,
impressive.
pretty impressive fall from grace there. But I loved what the Jets did because of they targeted the offensive line. They added four new offensive linemen. The big ads, Olu Fashano, the 11th overall pick at Penn State, and then Tyron Smith from Dallas, the big vet, to protect Aaron Rodgers' blind side. So I'm very excited there. They said they brought in Mike Williams, who I don't expect anything from because the guy always gets hurt, never plays. But Jets have enough to get it done defensively, offensively, if they're healthy. And I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I'm going to predict my Jets as the winner of the AFC East. Once again, didn't
No.
work out last year, but I think maybe this is the year. I'm still tempering my expectations. I'm ready for anything after what happened last year. But we do open the season again on Monday night. Hopefully this goes better than last year's. They open in San Francisco. So not an easy start to the season, but I'm excited. As for the Dolphins and Bills, I mean the Bills, no more Stephon Diggs there. The Dolphins are still an incredible offensive threat, decent defensive team. I think it's going to be a tight race there, and I do think if not both, one of those two teams also makes the playoffs. Chris, what are your thoughts on the AFC East?
I mean, I have very similar thoughts to you. I don't have a dog in the fight here, but overall, I mean, the Jets, I think, are in terms of overall talent on the roster, offense and defense, a class above the rest of the division. And that's really kind of what I want to go ahead and stake my claim to, but it is the Jets, and Jets things happen.
Yeah.
There is Miami, who's exciting. I mean, they got froze out or freezed out, however you want to call it. In Kansas City last year, they were a playoff team, but Tua got paid, and it's a lot of money for a guy who gets a lot of concussions, and you're putting your eggs in one basket there. I feel like, but I mean, you have probably the most explosive and exciting player in Tyreek Hill, along with a guy who's just being not talked about as much because of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. You have all the weapons. You probably have three running backs and a guy who knows how to use them as well. Um, I just think the Jets have more talent, and that fun, high flying offense. They have the defense that can stop it. So I think they split with the Dolphins, but overall, I think they can beat the Bills, and I think they can beat the Patriots both twice. And that's really what matters to win a division is beating those guys that you play two times. Um, I like the Jets. Don't tell anybody I said that. But I do like the Jets. I've heard
I think it's
Alan
not on
Lazard
a
is having a
recorded
good camp.
podcast. I
What?
Alan, I won't tell anybody it's on this recorded podcast that'll be airing live later this week. So
Well, that was
I'll
kind of the
keep it.
pun there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I figured that. Alan Lazard. Don't talk
Um,
about Alan Lazard. That guy has stone hands. Unless
I know.
the
I get it.
magic of Aaron Rodgers can turn him again into a good wide receiver, which hey, it could, but
All right, we'll talk
uh,
about my Buckeye, Garrett Wilson, who I think is going to have a stud season. Brees Hall is a stud. Depends on how Aaron Rodgers wants to use him, not Nathaniel Hackett. So I'm not drafting him in fantasy. But I think that Rodgers, I mean, apparently in the joint Giants Jets practice, he threw like a 55-yard bomb to Garrett Wilson. That was just gorgeous. I have concerns about his mobility. Um, but I mean, the guy hasn't really been moving around all that much since he's been 38 years old. A little spin move out of the pocket is probably out of his repertoire that he got hurt on last year. But I think the Jets win this, and like you said, I could see, um, I could see the Dolphins obviously being a wild card. I can honestly see the Buffalo Bills being a wild card as well. I think they, lose Stephon Diggs, but they're doing like a Tampa Bay Rays type of deal here where they keep one really good guy, their quarterback, and they're kind of shuffling in a few extra dudes. Different running back. They brought in Curtis Samuel. So I'm not counting the Bills out until they count themselves out. But I think it's the Jets division to lose. Super Bowl is a whole different story. I don't know if they make it that far. I think they can make a deep run, but health is obviously an issue. Tyrod Taylor, though, I would not mind watching for a couple of games.
that's huge.
If he keeps Rodgers healthy down the stretch, you've locked up a wild card. Sit him down in the second half of a game or two. Make it kind of like, um, a week 17, week 18 thing in week 15 for
Yeah,
Rodgers. So I think the Jets are going to overall see how good of a coach I think Robert Saleh is. I think Nathaniel Hackett is a hack, but you've got Aaron Rodgers running the offense, and I think Saleh is a good coach. I hope Reddick walks through the door because I think he's going to miss a
I hope
special
so.
season if he
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because the Jets did lose on the edge. They lost Bryce Huff, who was a
Right.
star for them.
They were banking on him.
So yeah, they were banking on Reddick being there. So we'll see. I mean, even if he misses week one, week two, just get in at some point, play, and let's see what you could do. Just pay him for a year and see what's going on. That he's there. What else is he gonna do? I think if he doesn't play too, he's just gonna get fined and lose money. I mean, guy's in his
Yeah, so what you
prime.
do as a team, you add a player option for next year and you waive the fines and you hope he shows up. If you're Hassan Reddick, you sit there and you hope that they lose to the 49ers and Salah says, I need you, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Um, it'll be interesting, but
yeah.
that's a domino that could fall. I don't think they need him. I don't think they need him. Their linebackers are a little weak, but their secondary is stout. They're not going to get beat over the top. They just
No,
could use a little more in the rotation and a solid edge rusher.
but the Bills, it's interesting. It's gonna come down to obviously Josh Allen is maybe the best quarterback in the NFL behind Mahomes. Lamar's up there, obviously, but Allen is that guy. James Cook had a breakout year last year, but the wide receivers you're gonna have to step up to replace Diggs. Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman. They brought in Curtis Samuel, who you know well. Dalton Kincaid had a nice rookie year.
Curtis Samuel since he was in diapers, basically. Buckeyes to the Redskins. Like, it's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, you grew up with Curtis Samuel.
I did. I mean, he was like playing as a freshman under Urban Meyer. Like, I totally did.
Yeah. And they have a decent defense. They've been the team in this division for a while now.
Right.
So it's gonna be interesting to see. We don't
I am
let's
looking up the I'm looking up the Dolphins draft though. They heavily invested in the defense of young guys, which is you know, an unknown right now.
yeah.
But man, they went hard on the defense over there.
Yeah. Well,
So
they
we'll
needed
see.
it because their offense is stout. I mean, they're Mike McDaniel there. He gets all the fastest humans on earth and just brings them in to
Well, I
play
think that's what
football.
he did on defense too. Chop Robinson is a speed edge rusher. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they went kind of ridiculous. Muhammad Kamara from Colorado State. He was a big guy in that game against Deion Sanders.
Who's your division winner?
Jets.
Jets. Same here. We'll pick wild cards after we go through the whole AFC uh, first. So AFC East, we like the Jets. Let's see how that works out.
Okay.
AFC North. Baltimore Ravens are your favorite again. They have the reigning MVP, Lamar Jackson. They're just the Ravens. They're good every year. Uh, same kind of same as the Steelers, although the Steelers have much lower expectations now, but the Steelers always overachieve with Mike Tomlin there. The Browns had a kind of crazy dream season last year with with Joe Flacco, and the Bengals
Love
had
that.
basically a nightmare season. Who couldn't stay healthy. You look at the Bengals; they are plus 160 right behind the Ravens to win the division. It's going to be neck and neck between those two. For me, I think the Bengals return to health and take the AFC North at as the kind of second favorite there. I think they edge out the Ravens. I love Zach Taylor as a coach. They replaced Joe Mixon, who's an older now, with Zach Moss, who had a really good year last year. But it's going to come down to the health of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. If that offensive core is healthy, they are good enough everywhere else, I think, to win the division. Chris, what do you think?
I hate you. I was going Bengals the whole way.
You are too?
Um, yeah, my one pause on them is the fact that obviously Derrick Henry's with the Ravens, which is an absolutely incredible beast to have in the backfield, along with Lamar Jackson. And if Mark Andrews stays healthy, I don't know how you stop that if you run the zone read. Just a little, oh, am I going to give it to this big guy who's going to bowl you over? Am I going to run around you? Or am I going to dump it over the top? Who knows? It could be a very interesting, fun offense. For some reason, their running backs always tend to get hurt. I could see Henry getting hurt. And overall, I think that the Bengals are the best
or
team in the division,
Orioles
just
tied it
like the
up.
Orioles are in their division. But the loss of Joe Mixon scares me. That man was a three down back there and a workhorse. He's going to the Texans, which that'll be really, really fun. But it's going to be the Burrow show. T. Higgins is playing for a contract. Jamar Chase might be the best wide receiver in the league. I mean, if you look at separation, which is I think one of the biggest things for wide receivers, he's tops. I mean, he gets away from people. Like, and he's not a big guy. He just creates space, and he's going to be that way for a couple more years. And until he slows down at that, I'll bet on him every single time. Their defense is decent. Again, like you said, Zach Taylor's awesome. Evan McPherson might be the best kicker in the league. You're welcome for that little tidbit. But I am a believer in Joe Burrow as a winner. I think he stays healthy. His calves will be okay.
Yes.
And we will go ahead and have a Bengals Ravens rivalry brewing. Um,
Yes.
I love Lamar and I love Derrick Henry. One of them's got to get hurt. One of them's going to get hurt, and it's just
Yes.
going to be a clear path for the Bengals.
That's what I
So
think. I don't see. Lamar, Mark Andrews, and Derrick Henry playing every single game and dominating. If they do, they might win the division. I just don't see it happening. And their wide receiver core is not deep. I mean, Zay Flowers had a nice rookie year, but and I like him,
Right.
but he as their one. I
He's
mean,
awesome.
you're relying on him, and then you have Rashad Bateman, who just cannot stay on the field,
He's
and
solid though. He's solid.
yeah, yeah, and he's fast. And then Nelson Aguilar is listed as your third wide receiver. I mean, that's I don't know. I don't know what you're doing there. I mean, you're probably like me. I think both of these teams are going to make the playoffs. I feel, unless you think.
Well,
Think
well, I was sitting there smiling as you were saying it. I was like, this is kind of one of my surprise picks. I thought, the Ravens are stout, absolutely stout. And they have a great head coach. But the Bengals were the winners, even when the Ravens were pretty healthy 2 years ago. So I'm going to go back to the Bengals here.
yeah. I mean, you were big on them last year, and it all kind of fell apart.
Yeah, I drafted Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Joe Mixon, I think, all at the same time
Yeah, yeah.
in fantasy.
Yeah. I
I
was
was
high on
huge.
the Ravens. Yeah, I was high on the Ravens last year. I had them win the division, and I had Lamar as the MVP. I really
Yep,
am mad at myself for not putting a hefty amount of money on that future of Lamar
you
for
should have. Yeah.
MVP. I'm gonna do it this year just because I don't want to miss out again. But yeah, it's I think a two-horse race. You look at the Browns, they're gonna rely on Deshaun Watson. Can he stay healthy? Is he still Deshaun Watson? I don't really know. You have the talent, Nick Chubb. When they lost Nick Chubb last year, you thought they were done, and then they kind of just made this crazy run. But Amari Cooper, Jerry Judy, they brought in. Elijah Moore is terrible. Just looking at their offense up front, and Njoku had a breakout year last year, but a lot of that was with Flacco now. So it kind of,
Right.
I
So
don't
I
know.
love the Browns. The Browns are probably my second favorite team in the entire world, but it's just Deshaun Watson. Everything else there is fantastic. It's Deshaun Watson that I just can't,
Get
I don't know if
behind.
he has anything left. I really don't.
Yeah.
And until he shows me that he could throw the ball and get the ball to those guys, I feel like they're bringing in those types of guys because he can't. So I'm a little concerned there. If Chubb's healthy though, it's great, but I think the Bengals will just be a little more electric
Yeah.
than the Browns offense is.
Yeah. And speaking of having nothing left, over in Pittsburgh, you got Russell Wilson likely starting at quarterback, and you have Justin Fields right there too. And it's
Potentially returning kicks.
yeah, I don't know what
Why?
they're doing there really.
Because they don't believe in Russell Wilson. That's gotta be it.
But I mean, if you believe in him enough to bring him in and name him the starter, did they officially name him the starter? Actually,
Yes, I
if it
believe
was
so. And I
just
believe it's I mean, I they brought him in because he's basically free. And Arthur Smith's gonna run the ball 2 to 3 times every single set of downs. So,
yeah,
as long as you can get Russell Wilson on a rollout on third down, you're gonna get vintage Russell Wilson, I assume. But
that's
it's gonna
another
be some
thing. The
cheap
why,
risk.
yeah, that's another reason why I don't like the Steelers this year. How do you bring in Arthur Smith as an offensive coordinator?
They want to maximize what's his face? Jalen
Maximize,
Warren
no,
and the run game and Najee Harris. But I mean, the dude misused Bijan Robinson. Like Arthur Smith's offense is supposed to be like run first. And
put it.
that's why Bijan was big last year. But it was who? Who was the other idiot in Atlanta that was getting misused? Chandler? Who's the
Oh, what's his name? Tyler Algier.
Tyler Algier? Like what?
He had
What?
like as many carries as Bichon. It's just
Right.
stupid.
So you're gonna have probably Bijan, Najee in the Bijan role, and or maybe opposite. But it's
That's
weird.
gonna
But
not
if
work.
anybody gets the last squeeze of the apple or the juice or the orange, whatever you want to call it, out of somebody, I would put my money on Mike Tomlin to do it. Whether it's Arthur
Yeah.
Smith, whether it's Russell Wilson, whether it's Justin Fields, whether it's whoever else, I think that he gets the best out of people. Just like the Patriots aura used to. You're bringing Randy Moss, troublemaker, whatever, stays in line, as a miracle season. I think Tomlin does that type of shit for guys too, and I'm excited to see it. But I can see Justin Fields either splitting time with Russell Wilson pretty quickly, or taking over after like 3 to 4 weeks, and not because of it being his fault, but the play calling. And we'll see. We'll see. Arthur Smith's offense might not expose him that much, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That's just
Yeah,
hot
I don't
garbage out
I
there.
don't
I don't
see
want
it.
to touch it.
No, I don't see it clicking for the Steelers. They'll probably be a 500 team again because they're never like terrible. Mike Tomlin's just too good a coach, and they're just a well-run organization for the most part. But this was a weird offseason. I did not like what they did, and I don't have expectations for them. So
Where was
AFC,
Arthur Smith before the Falcons? Do you know?
not off the top of my head, no, but
Me
I put
neither.
Arthur Smith out of my head completely.
I
Um,
know.
a
Your
complete
team name in my fantasy league is still
Farther Smith.
Arthur Smith.
Get it? Because it
Little
farts.
Bijan myth right there.
Yeah. Man, I was so mad. I was so mad.
I
But
would be too.
yeah. AFC North, we both like the Bengals.
Let's go.
On to the South. Your Houston Texans are plus 105 to win that division. Just an absolutely unbelievable breakout rookie season that the Texans got from CJ Stroud last year. It was something to watch. They had incredible, defensive breakouts too. Will Anderson Jr. They have a lot of names there now. They brought in Joe Mixon, who's a veteran. They realized Damian Pierce is not really that guy, that workhorse. So now the aging Mixon will be that guy, and they brought in Stephon Diggs. So they brought in two big time vets. Uh, that wide receiver core is already stabbing Nico Collins, Tank Dell,
Hank Tell.
Noah Brown had some games last year.
Go
They have
Bucks.
They have Bobby Trees. I mean, that's a
John
deep.
Mechie was the top flight
Yeah,
Alabama wide receiver.
yeah. So it's they're gonna be good, like they were last year, maybe even better. Um, I I'm gonna kick it to you because I jumped on the predictions for the first two, so I'll kick it to you for the AFC South. What do you like there?
Yeah, I love how much you're gushing over CJ Stroud, the Texans. There's a nice little battery, Noah Brown, Stroud, Cade Stover now, former Buckeyes, whatever. I loved watching that season last year, and I was a beneficiary of Nico Collins, and a lot of things Texans related, because they took Stroud, one of the most accurate, really exciting passers coming out of that draft, and Will Anderson, who just that's dead. I'm sorry, that's one of the best linebackers I've ever seen. I mean, that dude has a nose for the football, and he's absolutely incredible. He doesn't miss if he touches you, you're going down. Like it's he's the anchor to the defense. Derek Stingley from LSU, also a great corner. They drafted so well last year. Stroud is top in the odds for season passing leaders this year, above Mahomes, above Dak, above Burrow. So he obviously did something right last year. He really impressed some folks. Me, this might sound really weird, but I'm still a Jacksonville guy. I really am. I'm still a Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Doug Peterson believer. Um, and as much as I want to say the Texans will repeat, you bring in a lot of veterans when you have a leader who's very young. That's a tough situation for a head coach and a quarterback room, and you got to be really sound. I love Stroud. I don't want to predict a sophomore slump because I don't think he's going to slump at all. But I think that team's just going to be different. It's not going to be as exciting. It's not going to be as high flying. I think certain people are going to need to be fed because they were free agents, like a Joe Mixon, whatever. I think Singletary was a better pass catcher as well than Joe Mixon out of the backfield. They're going to miss him a bit. It's really hard to not pick the Texans. I'm talking every reason why I should pick them. I just love Jacksonville. I really love their dynamic. I love the team that they have. I think they're also deep at wide receiver. And I think they had a defense that underperformed last year as well. Um, this one I picked Jacksonville, as weird as that sounds, but I think the Texans will be very, very close. It'll be a more fun division than it was last year. And I think they'll have a little bit of a race. I think Trevor Lawrence is the type of guy that you pay and you get the best out of him. Like if he's on a rookie deal, he's out there, he's like, yeah, okay. All right. But you pay that guy, and I think he goes out there and he proves himself. So, barring an injury, I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars, which might end up being like my Chargers pick last year. But gotta shoot some bullets, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't mind it. I love D'Amico Ryans as a coach too. I just like everything about the Texans. I'm going chalk there, and I'm okay with that.
Totally fine. I
But
figured that.
yeah, I do like. I mean, the Colts. We'll see with Anthony Richardson. I don't see
Dude,
much from
when I
them.
first looked at this division, I was like, oh, should I? No. I'll wait to see the unknown show itself. And I think it's going to be pretty exciting over there, too.
I
Jonathan Taylor's going to have a big comeback.
Yeah, I think so. It should be. I think the AFC South isn't going to be a joke like it's been for a bit. And I like
It'll be a
I s-
blast.
I still you look at the Titans and what they did this year. I mean, so I didn't really understand um the firing of Mike Vrabel. I didn't get that at all.
The
So
feud with
that's
ownership.
yeah, and we talked about it. I remember last year. It's just
Yeah.
insane to me. They bring in Brian Callahan.
He's so
Why?
boring. That was the old Raiders guy, right?
Yeah,
He's so
yeah.
boring.
It's for me. Look, I don't think they're gonna win this division. If anything, they might be fun to watch because I like Will Levis. We talked about him as a dude last year.
That guy's
Um,
got a gun.
he's got a cannon arm. They brought in Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley. Like it might be a mishmash of guys that it might not work, but there's a lot of intrigue there at least, and I'm more firepower on the offense than you've seen from the Titans in years. So and Calvin Ridley, by all accounts, has looked phenomenal all camp. You still have DeAndre Hopkins here. I mean, he's an old man now, but Tyler Boyd now. There's weapons there.
Oh, love Boyd.
I mean,
He was my favorite third receiver in fantasy.
yeah, and he might have another good year. They're gonna air it out, and it might be fun to watch.
Yeah, it
Just
won't
look,
be Vrabel football, so we'll see.
yeah, no, it'll be much different. So, all right, so for the AFC South, you got the Jags. I like the
Yep.
Texans, uh, and that's the story there. All right,
Looks like, hold on, wait. Looks like Trevor Lawrence is projected to be top 10 in passing yards as well. So
Trevor
let's
Lawrence.
go.
We'll see.
Jags.
Right. Let's finish off the AFC divisions with the AFC West. This was where Mr. Chris Carey went boldly in on the Chargers last year. It did not work out, to say the least. This year, the Chargers brought in Jim Harbaugh, and now there's some sex right there. I mean, that's just some sexy, sexy Jim Harbaugh. Uh, fresh off his controversial national championship win with your favorite team, Michigan.
A lot of mail being sent to the University of Michigan right now, I'll just say. A lot of mail coming from Indianapolis.
No, I'm noticing that. I'm noticing that. Look, the AFC West. I'm gonna kick it to you. What do you think? I'm gonna let you. No, I'm gonna let you go in because this last year you had the Chargers toppling the Kansas City Chiefs in the West, and then they went 5-12, and the Chiefs once again won the division. I want to hear your thoughts. Who's your darling in the AFC West this year?
It's going to be the Chargers again.
Goodness gracious.
It is. I'm going for it.
He's
I
doubling
am
down on the
doubling
Chargers.
down.
Wow.
I'm doubling down. I mean, the man knows how to win, unfortunately. And if he wasn't a Michigan man, I'd love him 125%. I mean, the man is quotable, fantastic. His players love him. He knows how to coach at any level. He's played quarterback in the NFL. He was an incredible college quarterback. His brother's a great coach. His dad is an excellent coach. I mean, this is a roster that had the talent last year and was held back by Brandon Staley. If anything, they lost extra games because of their head coach, which is just a really sad thing to happen in the NFL.
He's a bad.
But if you get health from Bosa, if you get health from Justin Herbert, um, I mean, it's just a really, really damn good team. They bring in DJ Shark, whatever. They draft a couple of his guys from Michigan. Like they have a good team, right? And I don't believe that every team and every dynasty can continue to go. Hollywood Brown got hurt for the Chiefs. He'll be back at some point in the season. The guys keep getting rested in the offseason. I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm going with the Chargers. I love Justin Herbert, and I think that they're a really, really underrated team. And then I'm done with crazy predictions.
You sure? Sure.
No,
No,
but
I'm not.
let's
I'm not
go.
sure
I
either.
mean, the dude even has Dobbins on the team. He's got a bunch of Buckeyes too. Like I'm into the Chargers right now. I'm gonna play. I think I'm gonna play some odds here early in the season with them. Like they're good. They're a good team.
Plus 375 to topple the Chiefs. Just
Not
throwing it
that
out there.
much.
No,
Well,
yeah, it's not. It's
whatever.
not the Broncos at plus 2200.
I do like Bo Nix, but yeah, it's not a one man band. So
The
yeah,
Broncos,
let's
yeah. Broncos can at least
go Chargers.
be interesting this year. Now that Russell Wilson's gone, but I still don't. I don't know much about Bo Nix. I've heard good things. I have not seen him play, so I'm not gonna pretend like I know. But I do know enough where him and Jared Stidham are both better than Zach Wilson. So that's the case of the depth chart there. I just
For sure.
look. I mean, look. I'm sorry. I'm going chalk it. It's the Chiefs again. I won a lot of money on the Chiefs last year in the playoffs because people just didn't want to pick them to win, and they're gonna win again. Why not? They have the greatest quarterback we've ever watched play football, in Patrick Mahomes. I Andy Reid is still there, still breathing. As long as Andy Reid's still got a heartbeat.
Driving cheeseburgers down,
Yeah.
Randy.
Yeah, right. How many cheeseburgers you driving into that gut? Right? The Chiefs they're not gonna lose this division, so I'm not gonna get cute with it. I'm
I'm
probably
getting
gonna
cute.
yeah, I know you're cute. You're cute. It's nice.
Remember
But
Khalil Mack? You remember him?
yeah,
He's a good guy.
okay. I mean, what who's
I just hate the Chiefs. I don't hate the Chiefs. I'm tired of it. I'm very tired of it. I don't want to have the same Super Bowl over and over anymore.
I'm fine with it.
And I'm just gonna cut the head off the snake. So
I
yeah. You
I
go chalk. I'll stick with the Chargers, Sans, Brandon Staley.
Yeah, I do like the Chargers more with that Staley here, and obviously Harbaugh. They're gonna do more if Herbert can stay healthy. They're gonna be right there. But the Kansas City Chiefs are gonna win the division, probably get to the Super Bowl again, potentially win it. You could just keep erasing Tom Brady and Bill Belichick's dynasty from the record books. Just keep toppling those records.
It's so mean.
They
It's
said we'd
just
never see it again before. We're watching it right now, and it's even better version of it. So
who's they? Was it Carl Ravitch? Because he tends to be wrong on Sunday Night Baseball. Who's they?
Carl Ravitch. I don't listen to Carl Ravitch. Everyone, they is everyone. Let's go Chiefs. I
All
love it.
right. Let's
So,
go Chargers bolt up or whatever they
all
say. I
right,
don't even know what they say.
all right. 3 wild cards in the AFC. You want to
Oh,
go
okay.
first? You want to go first, or you want me to run
No,
through
you
them?
go.
All right. In the AFC, the Miami Dolphins will be a wild card. The Baltimore Ravens, because they're not winning the division, they're your wild card. And then the Buffalo Bills
Wow.
are back
Okay.
back in. They get it done. Josh Allen is too good. I don't see Josh Allen missing the playoffs. I don't think they're as good as they've been, but I take them over the Browns. I take them over the Jaguars. Um, I take them over the Chargers. I like the Dolphins, Ravens, and Bills. I think 3 out of the AFC. Look, the Jets will probably fucking suck again and not even make the playoffs, and then like the Jaguars will get in or something. But that's my official predictions. Chris, what say you?
Well, all the crazy things that I've said on this podcast, I'm going to supplement them with some solid wild cards right now. We've got the Chiefs, we've got the Ravens, and we've also got the Texans. Chiefs, Ravens, Texans. Anybody who doesn't win the division that's supposed to win the division gets a wild card from Chris Carey. You get a wild card. You get a wild card. You get a wild card. I think those teams just can't miss the playoffs. You miss the playoffs, there's something that went horribly wrong, like Aaron Rodgers type of injury. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with some crazy predictions in the AFC and some solid wild cards that are, may or may not be their own division winners. That leaves out the Dolphins and the Bills, and I think I'm okay with that.
that's. I'm not shocked by that. I have them in. I'm kind of just banking on the Jets screwing something up at some point. I think they both make it in, but I I don't hate it because I mean you have the Jaguars in at the top of the division, and then the Texans come in and behind them. We both have the Ravens as wild cards because we like the Bengals, and then obviously if you like the Chargers to win the division, you're gonna have the Chiefs in the playoffs. So
Right.
fair
They're not
enough.
going to
Fair
go
enough there.
nowhere. They still know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the Broncos and I love the Raiders. I want to see Antonio Pierce just ride the wagon into the Super Bowl at some point because he's just fun. But yeah, I think it makes sense to put those three as the wild cards.
I like it. All right, wrapping up the AFC. We both like the Jets in the AFC East. We both like the Bengals in the North. I like the Texans in the South. I'm going chalk there. You like the Jags. Uh,
Duval.
AFC West. I'm going chalk with the Chiefs. I'm sorry,
Bolts.
just doing that. And then you like the Chargers. Some nice odds there. And then wild cards. You have the Chiefs, Ravens, and
Game's going
Texans.
off. Sorry, it's off. It's off. We're done.
Oh no.
Okay, that's it. It's off. All right.
Sunday night baseball. You don't want to hear Carl Ravitch? I'll let you.
I hate that man now.
It's too much negativity.
Stop
AFC wild
interviewing
cards.
Jackson Holiday. He's fucking 10 years old. Leave him alone.
He really is. AFC wild cards. Chiefs, Ravens, and Texans for Chris. Dolphins, Ravens, and Bills for me. All right. That is the AFC.
All right, let's talk real football.
To the NFC. NFC East. Your Philadelphia Eagles minus 140 are your favorites to win the division. The Dallas Cowboys are second. The Cowboys are the Cowboys. Your Washington Commanders plus 1,000. Your boy Jaden Daniels. There's going to be some excitement there. I love the Commanders last year. I was a Sam Howell guy.
You were a Mander man. Mander.
That was the one future that I really dove into, and I really regret it. But hey,
Don't follow me.
It was looking. No, I didn't know. I bought into Sam Howell and the Commanders. I liked them.
I loved his
Not
bedhead.
so much anymore.
Great.
Yeah, and then the Giants might be the worst team in the NFL this year. Is that going to happen?
Yeah,
I
hope so.
So it's going to be a rough one for the Giants. I know many Giants fans, my wife included, most of my close friends, aside from you, and well, plenty of others, but many of my close friends are Giants fans, and there's no expectations there. I think everybody's kind of just dreading this season as this is the last year of Daniel Jones, of like just hanging on to any hope with Daniel Jones. It's going to be a disaster. You lost Saquon Barkley in the division to the Eagles. It was a rough off season. Chris, let's run down the NFC East here. What do you like?
So I obviously watch a lot of NFC East games. Giants, I do want to root for him this year. I love Malik Neighbors. I think he's great. Daniel Jones, I also love. He's just a lunch pail guy, but at the end of the day, he didn't deserve to be as high of a draft pick as he was for the Giants franchise. And he's not this regime's quarterback. So I think you're right in the holding pattern there. But the Giants always surprise. Like they make a playoff run when they're not supposed to. So
That's
we'll
fair.
see, but we'll leave them over here for now. Commanders, as much as I love, there's a lot of unknowns. Um, Dan Quinn, I want to believe in. But I watched the Super Bowl when he was the head coach of the Falcons. And Cliff Kingsbury, I want to believe in, but I watched him draft Kyler Murray and say that if there was any quarterback, this is the only guy I want to coach. This is the reason I went to the NFL, and we'll see how that worked out. So we'll see. At the end of the day, we have a good quarterback now. We have a really, really good guy who can take off with his legs and do the RG3 things that we had wanted originally as fans. The dual threat quarterback. I love Sam Howell and I love the down the field passing that they did a lot last year, but Daniels can do that too. I think Terry McLaurin benefits from it for sure. We do get Curtis Samuel out of the, off the team or whatever. No carries. We bring in Eckler. They're an unknown. I could see them sneaking into a third wild card conversation. But I'd prefer to put a future on Jaden Daniels rookie of the year than anything. Cowboys and Eagles is what it comes down to. I hate Sirianni. I liked him originally. Now I think he's a villain. But I don't think he's a bad coach. And there's just too much drama with the Cowboys. CD's not even in the building right now. You're not paying Dak, and Trey Lance is not looking good. There's a lot of stuff going on with the Cowboys. They're always humming in the regular season, so we'll see. And CD will be there when he'll be there very soon. Their defense is stout. I'm predicting the Eagles come back though. It looks like they are the favorites for the division. Bringing in Saquon is tremendous. Jalen Hurts with the tush push and just the attitude of Sirianni is just I feel like a little bit more well put than it is with like a Dan Quinn. So I'm sorry, not Dan Quinn, Dan Campbell,
Yeah.
with that kind of gusto, go for it type of thing. I think the Eagles just have too much talent. AJ Brown's so good. Jalen Hurts is just, well, he'll outwork you. They have three guys I feel like that'll just outwork you on the offense in AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Saquon. And I'll take that battery any day. So I'll bet on the Eagles for this division. But I can also see, yeah, I can see
Say it.
Cowboys,
You could say it.
and I think whichever one doesn't win is the wild card. So
I agree on the Eagles. I think they win the division. It's chalk again. Sorry, but they're the best team in the division. I think the Cowboys fall off pretty big, pretty hard this year. I don't look.
we
Maybe
lost
I'm
your
on.
D coordinator too. He's our head coach.
Maybe exactly. I don't know if the defense can repeat what they did last year. Um, you're starting Ezekiel Elliott at running back now. Um,
So good. That is the best decision you could have made as a
no,
franchise.
I don't.
No depth.
They don't have the depth, and I don't even know if I have them as a wild card. But we'll see. We'll see when we talk through everything else. But Eagles
Right.
for me in the NFC East.
You know, they are, it's their division to lose, I feel like,
Yeah, no, I
which
think
is what they
so.
did
And
last year.
well, yeah,
They
well,
won't do it.
they did lose it. The Cowboys did win. Still can't believe that they just completely fell apart, and that's what makes you worry about the Eagles a bit. But I think they could be really scary with Saquon Barkley there and Jalen Hurts in that backfield. Now, obviously, Kelsey retired under center, so he was a key to that tush push. But I don't know. I just there's too much talent there. Brown,
Drafted so
Smith.
well too, dude.
Yeah, yeah. The defense is good. See, I like CJ Gardner Johnson, Darius Slay, Jalen Carter obviously is a beast. So and they brought in Bryce Huff, who with the Jets, I know he's
Oh
unbelievable.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I was trying to think who they drafted too. They drafted two lockdown corners, first and second round. I mean,
mhm.
they've shored up the outside of the defense too. I mean, Yeah, they're
I
gonna be
just,
damn good.
yeah, I don't see them faltering. All right, on to the north. We move north. This could get interesting. The Detroit Lions are your favorite.
You go
Plus,
first. You go first.
all right, the Detroit Lions are your favorite at plus 130. And they're the favorites for a reason. Jared Goff, Man Campbell, Sam Laporta with unbelievable rookie year as a tight end.
So good.
It's
Jameson Williams.
they've got everything that they need to do it, but I think the Packers take the North from the Lions this year. And I hate it because I don't really love Jordan Love, no pun intended, but the Packers just do this. You have to believe in the franchises who do this. And I don't know what they did at some point, what kind of sacrifice they made, some kind of ritual, but they never miss on quarterback. They don't do it. And I love that they brought in Josh Jacobs at running back to replace Jones. And I'm a Matt LaFleur fan. I think he's a great coach. And the Packers are
I'm a
plus
Redskin.
20 to win the division. I like the Packers to overtake the Lions. I think the Lions will be a wild card and they can easily make a run. But we saw some cracks in the playoffs there. You've spoken about Campbell's coaching style. I think it's what got him there, and I don't regret any of that. They had 6 or 7 things just completely go awfully wrong in a row to lose that game. Um,
Yeah.
I may even like the Lions to go further into the playoffs, but I like the Packers to take the division. I think they'll do it. I may even throw a little bit on their future there. The other teams, the Vikings are starting Sam Darnold, so that's all we'll say about them. And then the Bears are going to be intriguing. The Bears are going to be very intriguing as well. You're going to see the counterpart there, Jane Daniels, Caleb Williams. These are two unbelievable rookie quarterbacks. It should be fun to watch. And you look at the Bears and what they did with that trade with the Panthers with Bryce Young, and just kind of, I mean, that was a. I'm not going to use the term that's coming to my mind, but they completely destroyed them in that trade. It's just to get they turned in Caleb Williams. They brought in DJ Moore. They brought in some defenders from that deal. I mean, it was just absolute dominance, and they've set themselves up now to be a very good team. For who was that? Ooh, big catch for the Astros there. But the Bears have set themselves up to be a good team. They brought in DeAndre Swift along with Khalil Herbert. Uh, You have DJ Moore. You brought in Keenan Allen. You drafted Roma Dunze, along with Caleb Williams. It's gonna be a scary offense, and the defense is solid as well. Um, it could be a dark horse for a wild card, maybe. I'm not saying it yet, but I do like the Bears. They're fun, but I'd say the Packers in the North. Chris, what do you think?
So I love the Packers, and I think Jordan Love's going to be around for quite some time. And I talked about Dan Campbell holding his own team back by making stupid decisions. But the Lions are here to stay, and I think that his players love him. I
Yes.
think Jared Goff has the offense wrapped around his finger. He knows exactly what he's doing. And ultimately, health is going to be a big issue with Jameer Gibbs and Laporta, but they've barely played this preseason. And I think they're going to be healthy running into the season. I love the Packers and I love their young receivers. Jalen, not Jalen Warren, Jalen Reed. Um, and obviously Christian Watson are exciting players, but you do lose Aaron Jones, and you do lose. I mean, I feel like just a little bit of that mystique of like that surprise team this year. Lions are going to be prepped for
Fair.
them. They've got a little more tape on Jordan Love, and I just don't see the depth on the Packers just yet. I think they're building for something that's going to be dynasty worthy soon. And the Lions are close to it right now, closer to it right now, at the very least.
That's fair.
My dark horse in this division is the Vikings. I do still believe in Sam Darnold's talent. They bring in Aaron Jones as a primary running back. It's not Alexander Madison anymore. Justin Jefferson could be healthy. They had a few injuries here in the preseason, obviously JJ McCarthy. But you bring in some experience with Darnold, and I think he could make some throws and make a difference. I'm going with the Lions, and there's a possibility that I go with two wild cards from this division as well. I think it's very evenly matched here, and this will be probably the most fun division in the NFC.
Great.
South might be close, but I'm gonna get a share of Caleb Williams somewhere in fantasy, just in case that shit goes crazy. And if not, it's gonna be Roma Dunze. But they also have three receivers there in I almost said Alshon Jeffrey, but they brought in the guy from formerly the Jaguars. Forget his name, but they've got a decent wide receiver core there in Chicago. The Packers bringing Brandon Jacobs, that's a big difference maker. But boy, howdy, would I rather like to see him run alongside Aaron Jones than AJ Dillon. I
Yeah,
just can't stand AJ Dillon. I don't. It's probably fantasy burns, but I think Aaron Jones going to the Vikings as a three down back is going to be way more effective than trying to split time between Brandon Jacobs and AJ Dillon, which is the exact same thing that you did with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. LaFleur, great coach. O'Connell, great coach. Campbell, great coach. Eberflus, jury's out. But I'm going to go with the Lions because I can't see anything changing this year if they stay healthy. Because last year they overcame a lot of injuries too.
that's fair. I like Josh
Lions.
Jacobs a lot. I hope that he gets the lion's share there. I think that's the only thing that can hold him back is if they still want to give to AJ Dillon. But I I like what they did. And Josh Jacobs is actually a pretty underrated receiver. I think they're going to
Oh
use
yeah,
him. They're going to use him as the Aaron Jones there, but he can also be the workhorse up the middle. I don't see the need really to give AJ Dillon that many carries. I know it's 2024 in
but
the
what's the
NFL.
difference then?
There's no
What's
workhorses
changing?
anymore. Josh Jacobs, I think, is at this point in his career at 26 is better than where Aaron Jones is right now. I like Jacobs as a bounce back candidate this year, and then that wide receiver core is and Jordan Love are 1 year more experience. All these kids, Christian Watson, Dobbs, Reed, Dontavian Wicks, even like if even when somebody
Yeah,
got hurt, Wicks came in and looked really good.
Wicks was a
Um,
beast.
yeah, that's a lot of young depth there. So I just I think, like you said, I think the Packers are definitely building something dynasty worthy. I think it's happening quicker than maybe people expect.
See, to me, the Packers move the ball down the field consistently, and the Lions take giant chunks from you.
Yeah,
And in the
yeah,
regular season, I'll
yeah.
take the chunks. In the playoffs, I'll take the consistency.
You like it chunky?
I'm not going to answer that.
Moving forward, away from the north and down south, we look we look at the NFC South, and we look to the Atlanta Falcons are your favorite in the NFC South at minus 140. I mean, I don't know about that, but Raheem Morris is your first time head coach there. Defensive mind. They brought in Zach Robinson as the offensive guru there, and shit, anything's better than Arthur Smith. Bijan Robinson's already been quoted as calling Zach Robinson an offensive mastermind, which I'd
Raheem
say,
Morris.
yeah. So
Wait,
I
who?
Zach Robinson,
Oh, gotcha.
the
Sorry.
offensive coordinator for the
Yeah, my fault.
Falcons, yeah, Bijan Robinson has called him an offensive mastermind.
I
Probably
got my
because he's just
Robinsons
yeah,
crossed.
there's a lot of Robinsons going on.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I just assume that they're actually giving Bijan Robinson the football, so that's why he's calling him a mastermind. I'm just I the offensive talent has been there for the Falcons now for so long, and I haven't been able to use it. And they think Zach Robinson is the guy to do it, and I like it. Um, but you look at the rest of this division, it's going to be tough, especially with the Bucks. Baker Mayfield, man, I mean he's doing it. Yeah, he's he ran that offense last year, and this
You
team
know I'm a
was in it.
Baker guy.
That yeah, and that the team was in it to the end. Shad White had a breakout year. Mike Evans is still Mike Evans. Chris Godwin's there still. Um, that their defense is always in Tampa always solid. Secondary there with Winfield Jr., Whitehead. There, that's I mean it's a threat to the Falcons, and then you look the Saints as well, and the Panthers. I mean, they can't be any worse than they were last year, can they? Maybe maybe a year under his belt for Bryce Young, it'll look like something.
I
I
think the
don't.
division's just gonna just be better, and I think it might actually be worse. I don't know. I mean, that was a bad division last year to be that bad in.
Yeah, it's the worst division in football still, but
I think
it's
that's about all we need to say about the Panthers here.
yeah, that's fair. And then you look to the Saints, and I mean, Derek Carr was who he thought he was. He's Derek Carr. He's a he's a solid starting quarterback in the NFL, but you look at him compared to Baker Mayfield. Is there much of a difference there? I don't think
No,
so.
not at all. If
And Carr,
anything, that's
yeah,
probably the best comp you could have made.
yeah. I mean, they're both solid NFL starters. Baker's a lot of fun. Baker seems like maybe more of a leader. Maybe I'm being too harsh on Carr. I don't know. He was just a guy that was linked to the Jets last offseason, and I
Right.
did not want them to commit to him, and I'm happy that they did not. But you got Chris Olave, who they didn't really connect in their first year together as well as you would have liked. Olave had some injuries here and there. Um, but I don't know about the depth. Kamara is still Kamara. Jamal Williams is there. The defense, Cam Jordan's still there. I don't know. It's just I don't know. What do you think about the South? Because it's messy.
I think we're going to have basically the same type of race that we had last year, just with Carolina being dog shit and everybody else being very close. So I think that this division will be interesting as well. I as much as I love the Saints, I'm a big fan of the Saints. They're like Ohio State of the South. It's incredible the amount of Buckeyes they have had and continue to draft on the roster. I love Drew Brees and I loved Sean Payton when they were there. This is just not the same organization with what they have in place right now. I think the Buccaneers and the Falcons are going to be, the class of the division. I can see the Saints being right there though. So that's why I'm saying I think it could be very similar to last year. The Buccaneers didn't wow in the draft. They didn't do anything crazy, but they returned their whole offense. So, they might have lost a lineman or two, maybe a tight end, whatever. But you still got Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, Rashad White, and on the defense, you still got Vita Vey, Antoine Winfield. I mean, they won the division last year in a division that was pretty much up for grabs. And like you said, I think Baker's just the leader. Raheem Morris, as much as I like him, that man's record overall as a head coach, it's it's 21 and 38. Okay. And everybody questioned what he did in the draft in terms of taking two quarterbacks. I know why he did it. Coming off an Achilles, very difficult for a guy like Kirk Cousins, who also barely has an above 500 NFL record as a quarterback, too. I've watched a lot of Kirk Cousins, a lot of balls sail on him, or did when he was in Washington. If he can't plan on his Achilles, if he can't drive the ball, who knows? I love Drake London this year. I love Bijan this year, and I, like you said, love the offense that's going to be in Atlanta. But I think it's going to be possibly despite Kirk Cousins. So we'll see. I don't know, but overall, I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. Rashad White won me over last year. I was like, who the hell is this guy? I'm sitting there watching this guy gash defenses. And I think that their play calling was decent. Mike Evans dropped so many balls, and Chris Godwin disappeared at points last year, and I think they get that back, especially if they have a few other guys that can step up, maybe on the defense, and Baker can be Baker. Um, we'll see. I'm going Buccaneers though. There's too many unknowns on the Falcons, other than Bijan Robinson's talent, Drake London's talent, and Kirk Cousins, what he has done over the course of his career. Those are knowns, right? And there's a lot of unknowns. Like, can Raheem Morris actually run a team? No clue. Absolutely no clue. Can Arthur Blank put a winner on the field or just a playoff team? No idea. And we'll see. But I'm going to go with the Buccaneers, Falcons as a possible wild card. What about you?
I'm mulling it over in my head, and I made a mistake before. I called Raheem Morris a first time head coach, but he's actually been here in Atlanta. Took over it very not memorable stints as a head coach.
He was also the Bucks head coach too, the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and
Right?
that was actually a long time ago.
It was hot garbage though. I like him as
Yeah,
a man. I think he's like the Herm Edwards type. Like
I
players love him,
love me
buy
some Herm
into him.
Edwards. Love me some Herm Edwards. But
Herm Edwards left Arizona State with a lot of recruiting violations too. So did Antonio Pierce, but whatever. That's
yeah,
besides the point.
yeah. Look,
You pick.
I don't I don't know. I'm going with the Bucks as well. I like them. They're plus and then plus 300. I might put a little bit on that because I don't you don't believe in Falcons. You don't know what Raheem Morris is as a coach. Is he any good? He hasn't been so far in his short stints. Um, can the offense finally click? If it does, then they probably win that division. But can it? You got to see it. Give the ball to Bijan Robinson, and then good things will probably happen.
Right.
And obviously, the big thing that we haven't actually even mentioned is, or unless you might have, but Kirk Cousins as quarterback now is that
Yeah, the Achilles, man. I mean, that's why I get why they drafted
drafted
Penix.
Penix.
I
Yeah,
do. Like as a head coach, you don't give a crap about the contracts. You give a crap about the players
yeah.
and what product you're going to put on the field. So who cares what they signed Kirk Cousins for? You need somebody in case this guy's other Achilles pops, or he's just not explosive,
I know
or he
all about the
starts sailing
Achilles.
balls like he always does. I
Yeah,
don't know. I get it. I'm defending Raheem Morris in that situation, but I'm not defending him as a coach overall.
yeah.
Not at
All
all. Not even
right.
close.
There's no reason to really. But all
Right.
right, so we both like the Bucks. All right.
Interesting. I'm surprised by that one.
We wrap up the NFC with the NFC West. It's been the Niners division, well, at least last year. Uh Brock Purdy, is he the real deal? Yeah, I think so. Um at this point, can you say no that Brock Purdy is not that guy? You look at the Rams, they have Matt Stafford, they will always be there. The Seahawks are in kind of a, I don't know, weird
Post
transition
Pete
now.
Carroll.
No more Pete Carroll, so
Yeah.
they've got to adjust. I don't know much about Mike McDonald. He's got a great singing voice, but that's a different Michael McDonald. Um, this Mike McDonald, I don't know too much about. The former defensive coordinator for the Ravens, so he's a defensive guy, and
Oh, a defensive coordinator? Yeah. Fuck the Seahawks this year.
yeah, there's nothing there. And then the Cardinals with a healthy Kyler, that's some intrigue. That's
The 49ers.
yeah,
I
that's
mean, there's
fair.
really not much to be said. You can make cases for Stafford getting a little bit older. One more thing, Cooper Cup, Puka Nakua. They've got a great offense, but they lose Aaron Donald on the defense. There's a concession there, and that's a huge loss. I believe in McVay, and I can see the Rams making a push. I could also see the Cardinals making a push. They are hyper talented, and there's a lot of options out there for Kyler if he does go ahead and stay healthy. I just don't know that he's an NFL quarterback. I think he's a premier college quarterback. Not sure yet on him. And the only other team is Seattle, who I would love if Pete Carroll was there. I honestly would love them, but I don't know anything about them now. I think it's the Rams and the Niners at the top of the division. That's obviously what the odds are, and I think the Niners are just in this mode where until they have to pay Brock Purdy a lot, they can kind of take and replace. And even if they lose Ayuk, they drafted Ricky Pearsall from Florida, who's just a phenomenal wide receiver. And they've got Christian McCaffrey. And if he's healthy, great. Purdy's great. If McCaffrey's not healthy, I don't believe in Purdy. So we'll see. But I'm going to go with the Niners. I'm going to go with their defense. I'm going to go with Kyle Shanahan, the regular season guru, and overall them having a decent season as a team. Repeating it as division winners, but I can also see two wild cards coming out of here too. Depending on how Seattle performs, they still have like the same roster. Sans Bobby Wagner, who's in Washington now. And I can see the Cardinals surprising some people with some health. A guy named Trey McBride had a great year last year. They bring in Marvin Harrison. And they still have pretty much the same running game, but they brought in they brought in Trey Benson, I think, the Florida State running back. I could be wrong. I think he's there. But they're gonna be third or fourth in the division, but the Niners are the class of the division, and I'm gonna go with them again. I think it's just this is your Chiefs pick right now. This is my 49ers pick.
Yeah, and it's my 49ers pick as well. It's just sorry for the Rams. The Rams are the only threat to the Niners in this division. Let's be real about that. And they could do it. But and I like the Rams. I love Matt Stafford, but this is the Niners division. Too many weapons offensively and defensively. They just do it in the regular season. They're going to be there in the playoffs. They win the division. I love the Arizona Cardinals for fantasy football because Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride had a breakout with Kyler when he came back last year, and then James Conner, and you mentioned Trey Benson as well.
Why do you think I talked about him so much right there?
Yeah. I mean, that's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a fun offense, and it's an offense that's gonna need to be fun because the defense again isn't. They had a bad year last year. I guess they were a little better than people had thought, but there's just not enough there in Arizona. So yeah, let's keep it short and sweet. The Niners will win the NFC West.
Yeah, we can't quibble about that.
No, not at all. Let's go to our wild cards. Chris, who you got in the NFC as your 3 wild cards? I can do mine if you want, unless you're frozen.
Yeah, give me one sec. I've got 4 teams. I'm just trying to figure out who's the third.
So, for me, the first wild card I think will be the Lions, because I do like the Packers winning that division, and I think the Lions will be right there. I will actually say that the Falcon. No, oh God, yeah, the Falcons. The Falcons. Do I like the Falcons or do I like the Rams? This is where I'm holding, because I think I want to call an immense collapse for the Cowboys and have them out of the playoffs.
This is where I'm hung up too.
I'm gonna do it. Falcons and Rams are in, and the Cowboys are out. The Eagles win the East, and no other team in that division makes it. The Lions in the North. I was thinking about the Bears as well, but I like the Falcons. I think the Falcons and Bucks actually make this a fun race in the South. And then the Rams with Stafford just too good. They'll make the playoffs. What do you think?
Packers, Falcons, Rams.
Packers.
I'm going to leave the Cowboys out too, unfortunately.
Wow. And losing Dan
those
Quinn.
Other teams I think are more sound.
Quinn. Yeah, losing Dan Quinn, like you said, to Washington. I think that I feel like the defense has a lot of talent there, but I think they overachieved because of Dan Quinn last year. So I don't even know who their new defensive coordinator is. Mike Zimmer. I mean,
the one guy I feel bad for though is Dak. If Dak doesn't get to the playoffs, he's going to lose millions of dollars if they don't re-sign him.
Yeah.
But I just, for some reason, I think that's going to happen with you.
Yeah. And this isn't even about a want for me. Like, I don't hate the Cowboys. I don't have any reason to hate the Cowboys. I don't really like what what they've got over there, especially with how good the Eagles are. I thought they overperformed last year. I don't like their running back depth at all. I don't love their receiver depth, and just yeah, Cowboys are out.
I
That's
completely
probably
agree.
our biggest bold prediction there. But yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's hate from me, but it's logic from
fair.
you. So hopefully we marry those two.
Yeah, yeah, great. All right, that's the
Cool.
NFC. That's our NFL preview. Did you have anything else that you wanted to throw? Any other NFC futures? Any bolder predictions? MVP? Yeah, let's do MVP. Who's your
Okay.
MVP?
For wait, no, don't throw that at me. Who's your MVP?
My MVP last year I correctly predicted Lamar,
Yes, you did.
and I will once again correctly predict that Patrick Mahomes will win his third MVP. Mahomes goes nuclear this year. Absolutely, is no longer held back by his lack of wide receivers. I loved what I saw from Rashee Rice last year. We'll see if Marquise Brown can stay healthy, but with him and healthy Kelsey Pacheco, I just think he goes. I think he goes off, wins his third MVP. Patrick Mahomes, maybe. I'm a Mahomes guy. Who's your MVP?
That's an easy prediction. This is gonna sound really weird to you. It was the first thought that came to my mind when you threw it at me, though. It's gonna be Aaron Rodgers. Um, I
Thought
think it's
about
gonna
it.
be Aaron Rodgers
I thought
if he
about it.
stays healthy.
I
And
thought
you're
about
welcome. If I put a hex on you, I'm okay with
it.
that. If I
that I
didn't,
the
I'm
Jets
okay
are
with it
already
too.
hexed either way. It is what it is. Like nothing you do or say can worsen that.
I can see him like Wade Boggsing it on a horse out of New York. This is it for me. MVP, Super Bowl, whatever. Not gonna re-sign. I'm gonna go Aaron Rodgers. So he's got two under his belt.
Oh,
He's
that'll
got
be
two.
like three or
Well, that would be three. He's got two under his belt, though, right? I think. Um, the offense revolves around him, and Brees Hall is a good pass catcher,
four
and he gets
already.
those yards. This would be four.
This would be five.
This would be five. So I'll stake my claim on somebody who's been there before and has all of the weapons to do it again. And you know what? If I didn't pick the Jets to win the Super Bowl, I'll pick him to win the MVP and them to go really, really far. And I'm okay with that. And I think it'll be fun, and I can't wait to be in New York when it happens.
I love it. It's gonna be fun. All right. That's our NFL season preview. The season starts in less than 2 weeks. Very exciting. Once we get through Labor Day weekend, and it's time, baby. Chris, you got anything to wrap us up and send us home?
No, just super excited for the NFL season
Ba-da-ba,
as well as the
ba-da-ba.
college football season. Oh my gosh, man. I didn't even pay attention to a lot of the preseason because nobody likes the preseason,
Well, it's not
but
even existent anymore. It's barely existent.
it's
It's
silly. It's silly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
So I'm pumped. I was so pumped to do this with you, dude. I'm so pumped to just be pulling up stats, and I can't wait for fantasy drafts. Um, fantasy drafts in both baseball and football are like two of the best like weeks of my life. I just love it. I
it's
just
the
love getting
best.
my guys and falling in love with players and
Mhm.
watching and deep diving and whatnot. So
Yeah, you just
super
love
excited
loving
to do that
dudes.
with you this year.
Yeah, yeah, you're a big fan of falling in love with dudes. All right, thanks
Doing
everybody.
that.
All NFL season, we will run it back with our picks. Last year, we did three picks each every Sunday. Let's do it again. These picks will be on SoBet now, but we will share our favorite pick of the day out on other socials. Telling you this right now, Chris, that's the plan. But I will let you know. And for week one, we'll have our plays out before. Well, we usually do Sunday mornings, so I think let's stick with Sunday mornings and
Okay.
leave out the Thursday games. Let's see how the schedule turns out because I don't know whether there's games every day of the week now. We'll see how it turns out, but I like to stick to Sunday, and we'll
In
go
10
from there.
different
But
countries too.
yeah, it's gonna make me mad at some point, if not week one. And I got the Jets on Monday night again, so I can't. But at least I get to enjoy opening weekend.
curious, how often do you guys even play on Sunday this season? You have a ton of Thursday games and a ton of Monday games. Sunday afternoon, you have a ton of Sunday night games. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I know everybody gets hyped about the schedule release. I'm not like that much of a loser just yet. Or like I don't throw all my money into the NFL just yet, but maybe next year when I have a quarterback, I'll be excited to see who he's matching up against. But
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna make me angry soon. It's probably gonna be a bad or a shitty NFL scheduling at some point. I can predict that. But
sounds good.
I'm ready for it. Follow us on SoBet at Sports Clash on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you want some info on the sports. That's what we talk about. We got our
Love it.
bets on SoBet. We had a rough week, and we're gonna put that aside. That's just part of
Talk about the week before, man. The week
yeah. The week
before we
before
were
we were great.
rolling.
Yeah, yeah,
We
up
went
eight and a
fourth
half
on the
units.
site.
Yeah, yeah, we were great. So we're gonna get back to that. So I like that much better.
For
And all
sure.
NFL season, making our picks. You're our college football expert. Started off shitty, but we're gonna get rolling.
We got a
Chris,
few units to overcome.
yeah, we'll do this. All right, thank you everybody. Appreciate the support.
Good luck.